Coffee with Namma Ashwath.
For today's show, I wholeheartedly welcome my well-wisher, my mentor, advisor, all the roles he's been playing. So it makes much more interesting to talk to him for the show Coffee with Ashwath. I welcome Prakash, the chairman for the Vision Group for Startups. Namaskara.
Namaskara, sir.
Swagata.
It's truly an honor and a pleasure at the same time to have this coffee with you and this conversation with you. I think part of what we'll talk through is the amazing journey we have been through together in these last few years.
That too, particularly, sir, during the very challenging time of
It's
COVID-19
yes.
and various challenges. I think it was a very challenging and as well as interesting.
I think it is interesting how it brought all of us together, sir. The bridges that you had built with the industry, you were able to leverage that for the state and our city. I think everybody rose to the occasion and did their part in ways that we could never have imagined.
Definitely, sir. And that was a time the society came together.
Yes, sir.
We all worked together. That was
And maybe it's a good segue into one of the big achievements of that time for our city, and was the formation of ACT, sir, ACT,
ACT.
which
ACT,
brought together.
It's not that how much money wants, but the intervention in the right place, getting the right things, right solution, leveraging the right solution, getting the right technology and the right diagnostic kits, right solution. That was something, because we had so much of things, but only thing how best we can transfer or make those things benefiting people. That was a great thing. Collective philanthropy, we've been talking, advocating all the time about the collective philanthropy. Really, that was a great initiative, and all of them were looking forward for such a kind of an opportunity to give back to the society, how they can be part of the solution. Act Grand, can you say something? So, what is that? What is it all about?
Yes, sir. So what we saw is that
And you have got many more roles.
yes, sir. But I think this is a very impactful journey that we have
And
been
that was
through,
a
and like
challenging time.
during challenging times. And so there's three interesting angles, sir. One, it was about startups, and that's why ACT, is was so central to Bangalore and Karnataka, and we had that startup culture. But the startup culture was largely leveraged for building businesses. But what we saw is that it's almost like a wartime, sir. It's like a wartime situation.
It was much more than
It's not about building. So we said, can we bring in the same startup energy into solving for this pandemic? And we had investors on one end, we had NGOs and donors on one end, and then you had startup entrepreneurs who had technology, who had solutions, who had ideas. So the whole initiative took shape by bringing, and that's why like you said, so that what collective philanthropy can do, we were able to demonstrate. And in standalone, none of these people could have acted as fast as what we could do by bringing it together. The important thing was the role of government, sir, that you can do things in small scale as a philanthropist, but if you want to create impact for millions, you have to work with the government.
many of our people don't understand, appreciate ourselves. I think that scaling up and leveraging.
Correct.
Big
And
way.
I can give you one example, sir. Vaccination, that, we worked very closely. Of course, launched it in Malleshwaram.
And it was a great number, sir.
yeah.
Great number. People were only looking how we can provide to the niche section.
Correct.
But the ag people, the ag grant, whatever initiative was taken,
Yes.
you are more worried about the last man in the society.
Last man and the most vulnerable.
Most vulnerable, much needed people.
Yes.
So reaching out to those people, that was something really, it has touched the hearts of every person. So 75% was the government quota, 25% was the private quota. So the private quota, what was available in the entire country, what was made by proper use by state of Karnataka, by the CSR,
Yes.
and all the corporates and the act. I think that entire 25% was given to
Yes.
the poor man in the last man in the
Correct.
society.
Yeah, and yeah.
I think even we didn't let go any opportunity. Probably getting that 25% in a market price, making it available, not at the subsidized cost. It was on the open market. So it was really a
So,
well thought, much needed initiatives in all aspects. Probably.
so to take it forward, sir, what we did after that, this is probably not something we have discussed so much. We said what the ACT platform was able to do during wartime. Now there are similar challenges in our society which we have not been able to solve in the last 75 years. So can we bring this collective philanthropy now to, in the next 25 years, before India at 100, can we solve some of this and demonstrate the same catalytic effect and this ability to accelerate using the startup way of thinking and startup way of doing into environment, health, broadly health, the areas that you, which is the primary health and some of these preventive health measures and education. So in all these three areas, we cannot be a country that we are proud of at 100 if these societal problems still exist. Sir. So there we have to use the same thing we have learned during COVID.
Probably all your thought starts with societal problems only, sir. I think that's a perfect statement, sir, and bringing that catalytic effect into the entire system, so that the entire society can feel what is the strength, beauty of Bangalore, the entrepreneurship, the startups, or the innovation, technology, engineering, what we have been always been championing, and how much of impact it has made in the lives of the people, how much of solutions have been delivered, and straight away directly linking it to the education system, healthcare, environment.
Yes.
I think that's a beauty. Probably you should start with education, sir.
No, all three, sir.
Education,
Yes, education.
Basically into primary education, sir. Much more into
So we have gone one step further. We have said, let us start with the Anganwadis.
Anganwadi.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you,
Yeah,
sir.
sir.
Anganwadi is the right place, I think, for them to start the learning in a proper way. And I think we need to, NEP,
So
is
we
also,
have,
NEP is also enabling that to happen. I think that's a
So we have,
perfect ideal situation for us to come together.
So we have the platform we launched is a platform called Rocket Learning. We are saying that, we have to take learning not only in the classroom at that age, but learning to the parents and their homes. Yes.
In Shikshana Foundation, the study what they've done
Yes.
amongst the children, what kind of learning they would look forward.
Yes,
There are
sir.
two important
Yeah.
studies they give, sir. One is peer learning.
Yes.
They are very keen with the
And
peer
child motivation, sir.
and child motivation. The other important, whether the chalkboard,
Yeah.
or any other methods of learning.
Right.
Audiovisual is something they want, sir.
Yes.
Instead of chalkboard.
Correct. Some form of interactive learning.
And
Yeah.
it was more impactful, and peer learning.
So Shikshana is another good example of what working with the government can do.
As you rightly mentioned, sir, next 25 years, if you want to see our state, our society, our people
country, yeah.
really equitable and really inclusive, the last man, irrespective to whom he is born, poor or rich, doesn't matter. He should not be denied an opportunity. That philosophy and concept is really appreciable, sir. That should be the real spirit of an city.
Really Bangalore that can set the narrative there, sir. See,
Always people trying to take away from Bangalore many things, sir. All the time
let them take about this, this culture.
At least the people, the poor people, the Shramiks, their family should get the justice.
One of our good friends together, Nikhil, and me, is started this thing called YIPP, Young India Philanthropic Pledge.
I heard the other name for this, the Billionaires Fund Club.
Yes, we can also call it the Billionaires Club.
That's good, sir. Imagine, sir, 25% of their earnings, they come very liberally
and
with so much of concern for the society. I think it's a great message for each one of us, to care so much for the people.
Young people should start their giving journey early in their life. They need a platform. So what we want to be is that platform where we give them opportunities to participate in this journey of doing something for this last man in the society.
Like your entrepreneurship or startup culture, you
Yes,
want to give back culture.
Give back culture, we want to build that. And sir,
That's
this
quite naturally want that to happen. Sir.
and
That should become the culture,
culture
in
of
each and irrespective of his income. You
correct,
like to say,
correct.
let it be 1 rupee, 100
One,
rupee, 10
let
rupee,
him
any amount.
anything. So
Giving back is the philosophy.
correct. And this
That should become the culture.
culture and Bangalore has set the become the role model and has set the benchmark there, sir. And with YIPP or this new initiative, we want to take it forward.
With the global meltdown, challenges, funding, VC, how do you see this in the future funding for the startups?
It's
Do you see any challenges with regard to the uh, uh, funds we see
so there is
in many of the
yeah, I
funds,
would like
availability of the financial institution funds availability?
got it, sir. I think it's very challenging global times. One good news for all startups is that this time there seems to be a decoupling of what is happening in India and what is happening in the rest of the world. Every time there was a big global meltdown,
So we could see
the impact in India was as severe. This time, I think
we can see so much of hope, sir.
there is still a lot more enthusiasm, a lot more optimism in this country, which is very
Irrespective of the global
the
scenario.
global scenario. And you might ask why, sir. I think I think we have done an extremely good job managing our economy in the pandemic and post the pandemic. Second, I think our institutions that people talk about, whether it's the RBI, the financial institutions, their way of managing the economy now is showing through. And finally, sir, our entrepreneurs are today the most sought after professionals globally. So people believe that if anybody is able to build something big and is able, because they have seen what our CEOs are able to do in the West. The top tech companies are managed by Indian CEOs. You are aware of that, sir. I think so. There is this thing, belief and strong conviction in investors that India will get to that $10 billion economy. It's a question of time. 10 trillion, we see a clear path to, sir. Economists and everybody.
Your 5 trillion, when it will happen, sir?
We believe in the next 3 years. 3032, we can be a 10.
32, yes.
We can be a $10 trillion economy.
It's a very surprising and very good news and very positive news, sir.
Yes,
That decoupling. So that has started already happening.
It's already happening, sir. That Indian companies are getting funded. Now, this is the early stage.
So I would like to know about your childhood within 30 seconds.
Sir, I can tell you in
60
I'll
seconds,
tell you in 10 seconds, sir. Very uninspiring childhood.
Very uninspiring, sir.
Very uninspiring. I was not somebody who did anything right. I was not a great student, right? And not a great sports person. I mean, you could say that in but with any benchmark, I would have been somebody who people would have said,
So I'm in your club, sir, don't know.
Sorry, sir.
I'm in your club.
No. But I think, and I've somehow been able to then build on maybe what was not a great start. I think that should be a big inspiration, that you might not start great, but you can always catch up and you can get to a place where, people will say,
Definitely you get inspired or motivated, you can catch up.
you can catch up and you can always, it's never too late to do big things and to do great things.
Really, it's very impressive and very inspiring statement, sir. How come our city is such a entrepreneur city? How come entrepreneurship has caught up so much and it has become the model to be looked up by entire country, entire world?
All the entrepreneurship that's happening in India is happening in spite of our education system. As a city, we were lucky to get Narayan Murthy to start here. We were lucky that Premji of all the places, decided to come and do what he did here.
From Calcutta to...
A lot in life, like you said, happens through inspirations. And that inspiration could be from teachers, inspiration could be from other people that you meet in society, and inspiration could be from successful people like Mr. Murthy and Mr. Premji. Everybody wants to do something new in life.
You have got such a very inspiring and very interesting life. People would like to know more about your journey.
So the part that really changed my life, sir, was moving back from the US. And this is where I think you have to follow your gut. Here I would like to say that my wife Amita, to get me back from the US to India, she was equally responsible, sir.
The lady behind your
There's
success,
always a lady,
obviously
and
it's a woman.
correct, because it was a pivotal decision in my life. So then
So
coming
you
back
should,
to India, it was a very interesting time, sir. The internet had just launched in the US. Just
just
just then the internet had happened. I'm talking about 95, 1995. India, there's no internet.
internet.
Okay, so I come here. People are still using modems. There is no concept of internet. To transfer one file from here to the US, which we transfer in microseconds today, would take 15, 20 minutes. Simple document to transfer to the US. And that's when I met Mr. B.V. Naidu, who was running STPI here, and he had the unique ability of giving you the fast link,
Fast
which only few institutions. As a common man, or even as a small business, you had nothing.
Nothing.
So I thought, why don't I start an internet
That was the
company?
first HTPI park in the entire country,
Yes,
establishing in Bangalore.
Bangalore. But
During
yeah,
Vajpayee's period.
correct. And all the companies in India, Infosys, Wipro, they were focused on the Y2K problem. If you remember, that was a
Yes,
big
Y2K
moment.
was a great
Y2K was big. So there was nobody in India who were focusing on the internet. So I thought, why don't I start a company that helped build businesses that were related to the internet. And so Netcraft became India's first internet-focused company. And then that's how Netcraft journey started. And then in about 7-8 years, once I built Netcraft, I was able to sell it, give money back to the investors who had invested in me. But at that moment, I saw that there were no investors. I had a very difficult time raising money for Netcraft. So that's when I said, again, it was not very clear that many other entrepreneurs were there. But what I knew was that there are not many investors. And what was the gut feeling there, sir? That many entrepreneurs will come in the future. But if I said that, okay, let me wait for the entrepreneurs to come and then I'll become the VC, then I would have been too late again. And from VC to entrepreneur, to being able to associate with the government, I think you've been definitely a great support and the person who catalyzed that in me to be able to partner, starting with Malleshwaram and then taking it to the rest of the state.
Probably we did it in the right time.
Right.
The same was replicated by everybody else.
Everybody else. And that gave me an opportunity to be part of the National Startup Advisory Council, which
Even
Mr.
here you were
Piyush-
able to provide solutions.
Yeah. So we said that the country has created 700 incubators. One of the role of the incubator is to bridge what is happening in the academia and in the grassroots with what the opportunities are there for entrepreneurs to build great businesses from that, sir. That whole ecosystem that the incubator was supposed to provide somehow had gotten lost. So we
What
said,
is your advice, sir?
So we said there are some good lighthouse incubators, sir. C Camp in Bangalore is a good role model. The IIT Chennai incubation, Mr. Junjunwala's center is a good example. Our BBC, the Bioinnovation Park, is a good example. Social Alpha is a good example. So we said we have to replicate these models not only in urban incubators, but in rural incubators and in the Northeast and in other parts of the country where incubators don't have the kind of capacity to be like our C camps. And that was the whole idea. What Mr. Piyush ji wanted, the Honorable Minister wanted us to do was build a framework, build a playbook to take these successful incubators to parts of the country where incubators today are not so healthy and successful. Now we've been investing for close to 15 years in Bangalore. One key aspect of what we wanted to provide, sir, is a real partner from somebody who is starting a company all the way up to IPO. How can we be a partner in this entire journey? and help them not just as an investor, but what we think ourselves as co-builders. So we wanted to build the company along with the entrepreneur. So what we really bring on to the table is this ability to work with the entrepreneur through this entire journey, not only for the continuum of capital from this first 1 million all the way till he raises 100 million and 200 million and becomes a unicorn. We are able to, in this journey,
there along with them with the entire journey.
in this entire journey, and there we wanted to be available for them as a trusted partner, no matter what, not only in their good times, but also in many challenging times. Just in like the,
It is not just an investor, it's beyond investment.
It's beyond
investment. Being a co-builder is something.
Correct. That's how
great collaboration.
That's how we see ourselves, and that's what differentiates us.
So, what you would like to pitch for the government, sir? What is that you look forward? What is that you want to pitch for the government?
Sir, I want to find a way of making people discover, explore, and understand Bangalore better. And that's how I came up with this idea of this platform called Unboxing Bangalore. And Unboxing Bangalore, I think, is an initiative that I think we should now find both a digital way of building that platform and hopefully someday a physical space to be able to have people discover the city. And one aspect of that, I would like to thank the Honorable Chief Minister and yourself, sir, which is the museum, the technology and the startup museum, which is one component of Unboxing Bangalore. Unboxing the technology, past, present and future is one aspect, sir. But there are so many other dimensions. Being from Malaysia, you know that we have so many aspects of our culture. Right? We have so many institutions now like BIC and others that bring people and dialogue together. So how can people discover that? We have a need because, sir, people in old Bangalore understand the city. But people who come to Bangalore today or people who have even come to Bangalore in the last 10 years don't understand the city, sir. And if they don't understand the city, they will not love the city. If they don't love the city, they're not going to be great citizens of the cities. And without having great citizens, we will not be able to build a great Bangalore for the future, sir. So I want the government to really support.
You wanted to complete that entire cycles.
Yes, sir. And look forward to doing a lot.
I really appreciate, sir.
Lot more together, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Coffee with Nama Ashwathnarayan.